Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Pop Anime Comics here from PopAnimeComics.com and the Pop Anime Comics Lounge podcast. New episodes are coming out in March, everybody, so stay tuned for that, where I interview voice actors, comic writers, artists, cosplayers, and professional wrestlers. And this is the wrap-up show. We're talking about My Hero Academia Season 4, Episode 79. Pretty much, this is a change of pace. So we just had the Sir Night-Eye, All Might overhaul arc, and that was very intense and hunting down and finding Eri, and kind of the League of Villains got a boost and a push up from that, and that entire thing was a very defining moment for Deku, as well as several other heroes, and Sir Night-Eye, in case you didn't know, died. And it's a very defining moment as a hero and in a young hero's life. This episode goes the other way, where the events still happen, we're still moving forward as far as timeline goes, but now we have Todoroki Yorashi, who is the whirlwind guy who failed the licensing exam, and Bakugo basically taking a test to determine if they can get their license, and they all really suck at dealing with being a hero, not on the physical aspect, but more of a mental heart compassion and being aware of their surroundings. And so during this, it's kind of they're subjected to a bunch of kids who are problem children who think that their quirks are better than the rest of the heroes, and that these heroes and UA as a whole and the entire society is holding them down. And so these three, and they're joined by Cammy, who is determined to have been knocked out, and they find anesthetics in her blood to be somebody else, and they make the determination that it was League of Villains that substituted in for her during the exam. That was a move they were making. But the idea is that now these four heroes are trying to win these kids over and convince them so that they're aware of their surroundings. And this test is really designed to get to the heart of what a hero is in many ways, and get to the heart of the issue of being aware of your surroundings, being aware of who you're dealing with, why you're dealing with somebody, what they're going through, how to win over somebody who might not be win overable just by pure strength and the ability of your quirk, because these four individuals have very strong quirks and they're very good at that element of being a hero. They're not good at being aware of their surroundings. And so they're kind of all struggling, and there's some funny moments and there's some other funny moments in there, and not so funny moments, I should say, where like it's cool to be a hero, and they say, so you should obey your teacher and all that stuff, and Yorashi says that, and then they say, but you failed the exam, you created more problems for your teacher, and then he kind of runs away, and then Cammy gets a little bit of fan service, where somebody kind of gets into her, bosom, if you will, and her breasts and her boobies, and so that's kind of funny how that happens, and then the girl who likes the guy who gets that gets angry at her, so funny stuff in that way, but also really getting, and it's nicely done. It's really, the funny humor elements are not sort of spread far and wide in this episode, but they do hit the points and they do lighten it up, because this is a lighter episode. And this arc, or mini arc, if you will, is much lighter than what we just went through. And it's a nice change of pace. And as all this is going on, Endeavor and All Might are having a conversation, and they're talking about the symbol of peace, what that means. They're also talking about how crime is rising and how that's an issue, and how Sir Night-Eye was given at that, where because now there's not a symbol of peace, and now the theory of All Might is gone, of being this ultra hero being everywhere, which was a deterrent in many ways. Now we have a rise in crime by 3%, and this is something that Sir Night-Eye was worried about, because back when Sir Night-Eye said it to All Might, he said, right now with the amount of heroes we can handle, we can curtail that if you give up your power to somebody else and start grooming them. But All Might waited for Deku, who's being groomed into the next All Might. And now there's an issue of heroes not being able to stop it because there's fewer heroes and there's more villains, and that's why we have a rise of 3%. And so that's something that's actually very interesting in the My Hero Academia universe, because there was a time where this could have been curbed, and All Might made a bad call. And that happens because heroes are human. And we all understand why All Might made that bad call, because it's sort of selfishness a little bit, as well as he didn't feel that it was the appropriate time, and he didn't feel that the heroes who could have stepped up could have stepped up. And then with giving it to Deku, he recognized somebody similar to him, and he also realized that now I have to make this choice. And so that's reminded, because Endeavor's talking about being the number 2 hero, now being the number 1 hero, and All Might says to Endeavor, you don't have to be the symbol piece that I was. You can be your own symbol piece for a while. You don't have to copy everybody, despite everybody comparing you and me together. So really interesting discussion. And so that's kind of the episode, and it's kind of what's going on. And really, I stated it already, but the way I describe this episode is that it's a breath of fresh air, because for a while we were holding it in, so we were going, and now we go, where we're getting a miniature arc of characters in a non-threatening but enough serious situation that holds our attention. And that's kind of what this arc, I guess this episode and the next episode, maybe even a third episode, is going to be dealing with. And I'm assuming that we might be getting not filler, but a lighter, maybe 3 more episodes, give or take, because we need to calm down before we enter the next big arc and big situation that's occurring, and the next step for these heroes. And so that's something that I think is crucial. And also on the horizon, and I just bought my ticket, is the new My Hero Academia movie. And so that's the other thing as well, is that there's going to be a build up to that, and most likely it's going to be incorporated somehow into it, where the movie really is 4 episodes, give or take, components. So that's something to keep in mind as well, where the movie does do that. And so I think that's something to keep in mind, where it's the equivalent of about 3 or 4 episodes. So it's its own little arc. And that was what the first movie was, and that's what the second movie is going to be, is that whether it's an epilogue or it's just a continuation or it's just a side arc, that's kind of what the first movie was. So this is probably going to be something similar to that. And I don't know too much detail about it, but it's definitely going to be more either an epilogue or an ending or a side arc. But they're going to incorporate it in, and then they're going to continue upwards and with the main series, because that's what they did the last time, and it was good. It was smart. You know, it's not overplayed. It's a crucial part of this, where it's not necessary to see it, but it only adds and enhances the main series. So that's also something why these episodes are coming out now, because this was all planned. And so that's something to keep in mind, because the movie's coming out in 25 days as of making this video on the 26th. So that means that we have 3 episodes until the movie comes out, or even 2. So, I mean, we have the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd. So we got 3 episodes, the movie, and then we got the 29th. So there you go. So that's the trajectory of where My Hero Academia is in February. Interesting, right? So yeah, that's my entire take on all of this, and I think it's really smart, because it could very well be that the movie kind of shoots us into the next arc and shoots us into season 5 if we get that far, because everything's up in the air. But sometimes when we're getting a season 5, there's too much money in My Hero Academia for us not to get a season 5. There's not money in the manga. There's money in the anime. The anime and the licensing and the Pop Funko license for My Hero Academia is worth more than the manga is. The manga is one of the most pirated mangas out there. It's one of the most read mangas, it's just so pirated that the sales are below like 30 million, when it really should be 120 million based on the popularity of the anime. So there you go. That's how I feel about it, and that's a whole different discussion for another day of pirating and good manga being pirated versus bad manga being read. Whole different discussion, and how good a bad manga doesn't equal good anime, and a good anime doesn't equal bad manga. Whole different discussion at another time. But until then, everybody, I'm just gonna go through my social. Please support me. No advertisements on this channel. Way I make money is by you people listening to my podcast, people buying a shirt from me from ProWrestlingTees.com. It's an elf holding a steel chair. It's kind of the combination of a Zelda figure and Leafa from SAO with kind of a cool elfish thing, and she's holding a steel chair. So please buy my shirt from ProWrestlingTees.com. It's in the link down below. It's the best way how to support me. It's a $20 shirt. So if you find value in this, the website, which is Pop Anime Comics, the podcast, the Pop Anime Comics Lounge, I got 114 interviews out. So if you find value in that, please consider supporting me and buying a shirt. That is the only product I have at the moment. I don't have any advertisements or any advertisers, so best way to support me is that way. Also, I might be at a few cons this year. I'm submitted to AwesomeCon. You can go tweet at AwesomeCon and say, hey, we want this guy. Submit a bunch of panels. Definitely check that out. Request me to speak at cons. Also, you could, if you don't want to request me to speak, feel free to follow me on Twitter at Pop Anime Comics, like the Facebook page, Pop Anime Comics. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram at Pop Anime Comics. And really anything with Pop Anime Comics, just subscribe, check it out, listen, subscribe. Definitely subscribe to the podcast. If I haven't mentioned it, whether that's on iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and I'm on, I think, 29 other directories. So wherever you listen to your podcast, I'm on Google Play. So definitely support independent people, because we need you and I need you. If you find any value in it, if you find no value in this, and you're like, oh, this is terrible, don't bother doing it, because if I don't fulfill your need in pop culture, I want you to go to somebody else who does. And I mean that sincerely, because I don't want you to waste your time, because I value my time. And so if you don't find any value in this, go to somebody who does provide you value. And that's my philosophy all along, because I live by that in the product I produce, and I live by that in what I consume. And so I would expect that my viewership is the same way. So having said all that, thank you for watching, and can't wait for next week to talk about more My Hero Academia.